Last year, I produced a video based on the M.R. James story, The Rose Garden. In my version of the story, the protagonist is pursued by demonic owls while taking an evening stroll through a big park in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. It is, of course, a work of fiction. The night floaters are real. My story was fiction. What are the night floaters? Malignant beings able to detach their heads from the trunks of their bodies, the heads then being able to fly or float at will. They fly through the night to feed on the blood, the flesh, and the sanity of potential victims. Imagine my surprise then on receiving the following email from a man who only identified himself as Dave. In your recent video, you referred to walking in a park without trees, just flowers and shrubs. From the description, I assume you're referring to A.E. Wilson Park, particularly the east side. But as you should know, the west side of the park has plenty of bushes and trees, and there is even a swampy island surrounded by the creek. My girlfriend and I had a weird experience there last spring, not long after your encounter with the owls, or as you call them, harpies. We were walking across the footbridge when my girlfriend drew my attention to some round white objects, which she could see flitting through the shrubbery on the island. And I was astounded, on taking a closer look, to see that they were actually human heads. We stopped on the bridge and watched 4 heads, 2 men, 1 old, 1 young, and 2 women, all of them butt ugly. Imagine our horror when we realized they were actually eating bugs and mosquitoes, like they were bats. We stayed quiet, and after a few minutes, they flew or floated off in the darkness. My girlfriend wanted to leave right then, but I wanted to see if I could find out anything more about these heads, which I assumed were those night floaters you hear about on the net. We went over the bridge and into the shrubbery on the little island, and in the distance, we could hear this strange and ominous moaning, like from a pack of vengeful ghosts. It was dark as hell in there, and wet and cold too. It was early in May, eh? We followed the twisty path and ended up in this clearing. And what do you think we found? 4 headless bodies. The 2 guys and 2 gals. Totally butt naked. Butt naked in 14 Celsius weather. My girl was totally freaking out, and we got the hell out of there, fast. Had we stumbled onto a mass murder scene? I didn't think so, not in Regina, Saskatchewan. But I remembered the night floaters are supposed to detach their heads from their bodies in order to hunt for human flesh, and that sometimes they stripped off before transforming. We could still hear this weird ghost moaning, which made us pick up our pace. They swooped us as we crossed the bridge, all 4, shrieking and gnashing their teeth. One of the women actually bit down on Sharon's long hair, but let go when I punched her in the face. WSJ here. I hope Dave meant that he punched the head in the face, not that he punched Sharon in the face. To continue, we ran full tilt for the car, with them dive-bombing us all the way. I managed to get my belt off and swung it at them. Buckle end. I connected a few times too. Hope I put out an eye or two. We weren't home safe when we piled into the car either. I tore out of there and headed north on McCarthy, going like hell. But 2 of the heads, the old guy and one of the skanks, chased us all the way to Mickelson. So, if I were you, I'd stay out of that park too. Your choice is between great horned owls or night floaters. Thanks, Dave, for contacting me and sharing your story. I was aware of the presence of night floaters in that park after a librarian friend had an encounter there last summer. And I take your point, but you can avoid dangerous encounters with malignant beings even if you stay at home with a blanket over your head. I have had both floaters and owls outside my house at night, so there's no escape. I'm interested in your reference to the floaters eating insects. They are known to eat bugs when they can't get other sustenance, other flesh, a tendency documented by the author Lafcadio Hearn in Rokurokubi in his collection of Japanese ghost stories, Kwaidan. Once upon a time and back in the day, a samurai named Isoge, skilled in the fighting arts, gave up his profession and became a traveling Buddhist monk. Isoge was traveling through a mountainous region when darkness overtook him far from any village or habitation, so he resolved to spend the night in the open. Isoge had no sooner lay down on the hard ground when a woodcutter came along the road. He was astonished to see the priest and warned him the place was haunted by Goblin-Foxes and Goblin-Badgers, but Isoge laughed and said he wasn't afraid of hairy things. The woodcutter invited Isoge to spend the night at his humble abode, even if he couldn't offer his guest anything to eat. The priest liked the man's polite manner and accepted. After a walk through the woods, they arrived at a small thatched cottage. Inside, Isoge found 4 others, both men and women, all of whom looked lean and hungry. As it was dark, they retired for the night, the priest being given his own small room. Isoge sat up for some time, saying his prayers by the light of a small lamp. But in the wee small hours, he became thirsty and left his room to get a drink from the stream running past the cottage. Isoge went into the main room and stopped dead. On the floor were 5 headless corpses. Have I stumbled across a crime scene, he wondered? But there was no blood, and the necks did not appear to have been slashed or cut. The priest then realized he had been lured into a nest of Rokuro-Kubi, flesh-eating ghouls. Isoge knew that the way to destroy such a goblin was to remove or hide its body, as the head would be unable to reattach itself. So opening a window, he threw the woodcutters, the lead goblin's, body out into the darkness. Isoge then slipped outside, out into the gentle night, and found a hiding place behind a tree trunk. Soon he heard voices, and then saw the 5 heads flitting through the night and eating bugs and worms off the ground and off the sides of the trees. They chatted as they dined. The one who had pretended to be a woodcutter said, "Someone go see if that wretched priest has finished praying. He must be done by now. It's nearly morning. If he's asleep, we'll dine on his fat body, on the delicious flesh. No doubt he will make a tasty morsel." One of the female heads darted off, but soon came screeching back. "The priest is gone, and so is your body. He has hidden it." "He has killed me," bellowed the woodcutter. "We must find that priest and kill him." The 5 heads began to frantically scud through the shadows until one of the females screeched, "There he is, behind that tree." Isoge grabbed a stout branch and used it as a club to strike at the carnivorous heads as they lunged at him, teeth snapping like angry wolves. The woodcutter's head clamped its jaws firmly onto the sleeve of Isoge's robe. But the priest grabbed it by its long hair and beat it over and over with the thick branch until it was dead. 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 But still firmly locked by its teeth to the arm of the robe. Day was breaking. The priest returned to the cottage, but the others, the goblins, had fled. And so Isoge continued his journey. But later that day, whilst traversing an isolated mountain path, the priest was assailed by a robber who ordered him to strip. Guess he wanted to steal everything. But the startled bandit dropped the robe when he saw what was clamped onto the sleeve. "Sir priest, I am a bad man, but not even a sinner like me would carry the head of a murdered man around with me." "But," Isoge said, "it is the head of a goblin, not a man." "Ha!" the highwayman barked with delight. "Not only do you murder, but you're brazen enough to tell jokes about it." The robber was so impressed, he traded his new robe for Isoge's old one, complete with its dangling head, and gave the priest 5 yen as well. Who says crime doesn't pay? However, much as I want the night floaters and the creatures of the night to leave me alone, I think I'll pass on carrying a decapitated head around with me to scare them off. Even if 2 heads are better than 1. WSJ here. Hope you both enjoyed this video and that I didn't mangle the Japanese words too badly. I have enough trouble pronouncing words in English, let alone trying to pronounce Japanese words and names. If you want to read the original work, there is a link in the description. Please share this video, comment. I love comments and try to respond. Drop a like and consider subscribing. I need every subscriber I can get for more accounts of the Night Floaters and ghost stories of a librarian. And remember, stay hungry.